The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
'80s sitcom pause.
I had my hands in like the wrong position because you use a foot pedal for the hi-hat. So I don't know what I was trying to do. I don't know.
That was a low hat for you.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to the Saturday brunch edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is the guy who's supposed to be the third man of the NWO, but he's a little too young.
It was Mabel and I
Dustin
in the finals, because there was always that rumor that Mabel was the third man. It was Mabel, me, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, but ultimately they decided, what about Hulk Hogan? And I think that was the smart move.
It was also Sting.
Yeah. Sting was also in the running. Yes,
because Bischoff was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have Sting," and Hulk Hogan's like, "Doesn't work for me, brother."
Well, apparently the first time he went to Hogan and he tried to talk to him about it, reportedly, and I laughed hysterically at this quote. Reportedly, Hogan at first was against it. He was like, "No, I'm not turning heel." And Bischoff was like, "Come on, it'd be great." And Hulk Hogan said, "You'll never understand until you walk a mile in my red and yellow boots." That one, if that is true, that cracks me.
Oh my god!
I don't know why.
That's hysterical. Oh man, we've got quite a lineup today on the Saturday brunch. Here's what's on the menu. Saturday brunch.
Ooh,
we're talking about hot food. Hot food takes coming back. We had an extended edition last week. We're bringing it back for the short. We're talking about opening day in baseball, the official opening day in baseball, not imposter opening day like last week. That was sorry, Kevin. Actual opening day. But I got a rant about the about MLB TV because that sucked.
Yeah.
We're also going to bring back the list. We're going to bring back the list, and we're going to talk about our favorite athletes to wear the number 23. But before we do that, got some business to take care of. And the fact that we want to remind you about our social media channels, which are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out our other podcasts and written articles on bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when we're live. That way you know when we have show announcements go up. That way you know when we have video clips on the website. You can catch the replay of this live show on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel at 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, you can also listen on the audio side. The audio from this episode will be actually up on the No Credentials Required channel after the show. So audio is going to be available around 1:30 Eastern, about 1 o'clock, 1:30 Eastern, as always. And it's always available on Tuesdays around 9:30 for the audio. But in the meantime, for the audio, rate, review, comment. 5-star ratings always help. Rate reviews always help because that way people know about the show. And also comments help on Spotify. Leave a comment for the latest and also past episodes of No Credentials Required. You can do that in Spotify now. So leave us a comment. We'll read them out loud.
Yeah. And like you said, we got a lot to get into, and but I'm looking at the clock, and it's a certain time. I believe.
Right.
It's chime time.
And words of Stone Cold. You know my watch is telling me? It's chime time. yes, I forgot to remind you, we are a live show 10 a.m. on Saturday, most Saturdays, although we got a little bit of a late start today. That's mostly on me again because I got up late.
It's
I
all
was
right.
waiting for my coffee.
We balance each other out. When
Yeah.
you're like early, I'm not, and then when you're running a little late, I actually got up and hit the rower this morning because I am getting ready to do something very stupid on Memorial Day weekend, and I haven't really trained much for it, so I gotta get moving, and it's not gonna be good for me. I'll reveal more about that as it becomes closer. Just kind of a personal thing. I want to see if I can do it.
I believe in you, Dustin. You know what? You need a montage.
Yeah, a training montage.
Sports training montage.
Those guys are they're so good at writing music. It's ridiculous. Like they wrote a musical, obviously. They've proven it, but it's always funny too. You hear it and you're like, "Oh, this is supposed to be cheesy, but it's actually good." Did I walk around as like a 8th, 9th grader, 7th grader, can't remember which, singing "What Would Brian Boitano Do"? I certainly did.
What would Brian Boitano do if he was here today? Sure, he kick an arse or two. That's what Brian Boitano do.
Oh yeah, of course. And I believe he used that song partially to parlay himself into a cooking show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that cooking show. They need to bring it back.
Yeah, I did not watch, but
You
sound
didn't
like
watch What Would Brian Boitano Cook?
You sound like an ardent fan, man.
I am an ardent fan.
I think I missed.
It was unintentionally bad. It was unintentional comedy because it was
man,
just.
I gotta check it out. I gotta check it
Oh,
out. But I'll
man.
be honest with you. I have a knowledge of early '90s figure skating for some reason. Yes. Was I a bigger fan of Elvis Stoico and Victor Petrenko because they would do the back? Well, Elvis Stoico would do the backflip along with Scott Hamilton, of course. Can I give a shout out?
And was it Sonia Gerali from France, the female skater? Hang on.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I gotta. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, I let's just say that I watched a lot of figure skating at my father's, not by choice. So I do.
Syria Bonali.
Oh yes, Saria Bonali. Yes,
Yes.
of course. And Michelle Kwan, very
Yep.
young Michelle Kwan at the time. I was a Christy Yamaguchi fan. I enjoyed, Christy Yamaguchi. Holler at me, Christy. Tanya and Nancy. You can't forget about Tanya and Nancy. And I liked Tanya. I was team Tanya initially in that whole thing, but then obviously stuff happened. so
for the actual story, watch I, Tanya.
Also, which we reviewed.
Check out our review of I, Tanya in the archives.
Yeah.
I was kind of an Oksana Bayul guy myself.
Oh yeah, Oksana Bayul. I won't repeat it, but I also will never forget her from that song lyric in Family Guy. Some of the original episodes there on the Pawtucket Patriot Factory episode.
It's unfortunate that happened, but hey,
yes.
Whatever. Yeah, things happen. It's
they
life.
Do. Yep.
Speaking of that's life, we're gonna dive into a little hot food takes. Not the extended edition. This is just the regular 5 to 10 minute segment, and we put this one on the shelf because we saw what Scotty Scheffler was cooking at the Masters dinner, which will be served in almost a week. Week from Tuesday.
See that, as we discussed last show, that's the official start of spring for me. Like when the Masters kicks, I'm like, okay, we're here now.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I'm excited.
We're almost there. So we're gonna. Dustin, why don't you explain what this version of Hot Food Takes is? Is it a power ranking? What is it?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna try. People are gonna put comments in there. People are gonna laugh at what I'm about to say, but it's the top 3 mixed. I have to mixed nuts or nuts. Your top 3 because inspiration came. A little look behind the curtain, but a few Tuesdays shows ago, I was eating a little snack before the show, and I was hungry, and I was eating, and I said, Ryan, what if we did a top 3 mixed nuts parody or ranking, because that's what I was eating at the time.
Mhm.
So we've been doing a lot of power ranking stuff, or we've been doing stuff versus. It always works out every time. It's always a good one, but sometimes we got to dig deep into the well, and that's
Yeah.
what this one was. I looked to my right and my left, and the inspiration was there. Ergo, this was born. So that's what we're doing. We're diving.
Diving in. All right.
diving in.
So am I going to lead off, or are you going to lead off?
I think we'll change it up. We're gonna have you
Ooh.
lead off. You always are so nice. You pass it off to me, but I think I'm gonna have you lead off for this one.
Okay. All right. So let's go in order here. So I'll go from descent. I'll go in ascending order. So I'll start at
Okay.
3. So I'll start
Okay.
at 3. At number 3, I have almonds.
Oh, solid pick.
Almonds are a good pick. Or I think to me are a solid pick because they're pretty versatile. You can put them in salads if you choose to. You can put them in. You can use, as a regular snack. Put them in some good trail mix, like the one I get usually from BJ's. BJ's. Shout out BJ's. I'm a BJ's guy. I know that there's that video of the Boom family, bring the Boom AJ, and some other family saying, we're Costco guys, or we're Sam's Club guys. I'm a BJ's guy.
Yeah, BJ's. That's what's close. That's what I have a membership to. So,
Although Costco is coming soon to the capital region area, that's what I heard. So
I'll believe it when I see it, because
yeah.
some version tangential to my day job, without revealing what I do, some version of that Costco project has been on a planning board and going through the process for roughly 8 years. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yikes. Gotta love New York and the speed that they do for the speed of their zoning laws. Anyway, almonds, but one thing I always I like chocolate covered legumes, and chocolate covered almonds are underrated, criminally underrated.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 2, I got peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
Peanuts are a solid number 2.
Yeah.
Again, versatile. Put them into different foods. You can put them in. You can make them as a main dish. Put them in as a garnish. I mean, with the oh gosh, what's that Thai dish? Oh god.
Oh yeah, I can't think. But they use a lot of peanut sauces and stuff in Thai.
Peanut sauces, and they use it's part of the it's the national dish of Thailand. And I can't. It's off the top of my head. I can't think of it but I want to try it. If I ever go to Thailand, I want to try it. But peanuts is part of the dish.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you also got peanut butter.
Oh,
got peanut sauces. I mean, one of my favorite takeout items is from Azuma in Malta. It's a Japanese steakhouse.
Yeah,
sushi joint.
We went there for your birthday last year, I think.
We did, and the next day I didn't feel so funky fresh.
Well, it's because you were the sake master.
It wasn't because of that. I think it was because it was so everything was so rich. The meal I had the steak and scallops, and my tum tums wasn't accustomed to that much butter. but they have a scallion pancake with peanut dipping sauce that is out of this world. And I didn't think I would like scallion pancakes, but I tried it one day. I tried it with my order one night because I got sushi. I picked up some sushi because I'm a sushi guy.
Yeah.
Talked about this last week. But I got some scallion pancake with it, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And it came with this peanut dipping sauce, which was incredible. But my number 1 nut has to be cashews.
Oh man!
Oh no!
So I have to say, this is a first in the history of hot food takes. Your list is exactly the same as mine.
Whoa!
Exactly the same ranking,
the
same everything. But lay it on me. Why is cashew your number 1?
I didn't discover cashews, I discovered the magic cashews until I was a teenager. So my dad, my mom and my dad, when we were growing up, we didn't have much to go. We didn't have much food. Not food, but we didn't have much. They kept the lights on. They kept our bellies fed.
Yeah.
So I'm highly appreciative of that. But one thing that my mom would always get with the food order, with the grocery order, is this giant can of Planters peanuts,
Yeah.
honey roasted, lightly salted, what have you. But one time my mom got cashews, and I'm like, all right, let's have some cashews. I'm like, all right, cashews. This is it. This is it. Plus, my buddy Kevin, who owns the Park Avenue Confectionery in Mechanicville, New York, they take online orders.
Nice.
If you're abroad or if you're in other parts of the United States, the best chocolate you'll ever have, hands down. He makes his own peanut butter cups, which are awesome.
Oh, nice.
Makes his own truffles. Lots of hand dip stuff in terms of chocolate. Anything chocolate you can put anything you can put in the chocolate, he'll do it.
Nice. All right.
Chocolate covered Twinkies, chocolate covered Nutter Butters, chocolate covered bacon.
Oh yeah, that's next level. I got to get on some of that.
But chocolate covered cashews are where it's at.
That's it's so good. So good. I can't believe I was like, if he puts cashews at number 1, like when you put peanuts at number 2, I was like, all right, like if he picks cashews, what am I going to do? Because it's the exact same order.
Well, why don't you give your rationale?
Yeah, I will. I mean, cashews, similar to you, peanuts were the stalwart growing up. You always had them, you always had them. I also have great memories attached to peanuts because, that's the reasons why they're my number 2. I love peanut butter. I love Reese's peanut butter cup. I love, and just the basic cocktail peanut. Like I can eat an unreasonable amount of those. I get honey roasted every once in a while. Dry roasted, I'm not a big fan of. I got to say the dry roasted, not the best. But my favorite thing to do with peanuts, and it's because of my dad. My dad always would do this. And, I have so many experiences with my mom and things that I associate with my mom, but there are a few key things that unquestionably I associate with my dad, and it's the shelled peanuts where you got to crack it and you got to open them up. And the feeling of the excitement when you would get 3 peanuts in a shell that looked like it was only 2. You always felt like that was what we wanted to do. Like dad was always like, oh, look at this. I got a 3-fer. And we were always searching for him. And dad taught me how to skip rocks, but also we were always eating the shelled peanuts and listening to baseball on the radio, whether it be at his apartment or later when he moved in with, his current house. He's been there for a long time now, but listening to baseball on the radio and the hard-shelled peanuts, and always stopping off at Stewart's for a Coke when he was driving me home back to my mom's house. Those are like things, those are all intertwined. So I have a massive love for the peanut as well as especially the hard-shelled version. But cashews, same deal. Like my mom didn't always get them because they were expensive. They were very expensive. And she got them, and as soon as I had them, now I got to go salted. Unsalted cashews, I can't do it, I will admit. But you put the salt on, man, I can eat a whole jug of cashews. It's funny, you're talking about BJ's before the show. I could eat one of those whole, I could probably eat one of those whole, huge jugs that you could get from
40-ounce jar.
Yeah. I would promptly have a heart attack right after. But I could eat that whole thing. Cashews, no problem. And almonds, they're perfect topping for dessert. You can shave them really fine. And I never really got into almonds until I would eat them in things like candy bars. I'd get honey bunches of oats with almonds. I preferred the almond version, even though you don't get enough almonds in that box. But as I got older, the chocolate covered almonds, everything, I was looking for quote unquote healthier snacks, and almonds, they can do it as long as you don't eat a ton of them. But that's where I have the problem. And I just have memories, Ryan, for special occasions. We always had a can of mixed nuts, and we'd put them in dishes and stuff. So mixed nuts, and you've been to my Super Bowl parties. I carry that Nichols tradition on. I always put peanuts out or mixed nuts or something, because that to me signifies a party or a special occasion or a nice gathering with friends. I always put mixed nuts out there. Now, since our rankings are exactly the same, I do want to give an honorable mention to the pistachio. I love the pistachio. It almost made this list for the ice cream and a myriad of reasons, but honestly, it's a lot of work. You to get the pistachio if you get the shelled ones, and I used to suck the extra salt out of the shell for a pistachio. Yes, I'm a psychopath. but
at least it's not raisins and goldfish.
yeah, it is not that. Hey, I didn't do it this time.
That's right, Staniel Smooth. Shots fired.
I didn't do it this time, Staniel. I didn't do it, but we're keeping it alive.
Pistachios.
Yeah, but yeah, those are mixed nuts. But I will say, I'm putting at the bottom of my list, the Brazil nut. I always wish the Brazil nut wasn't in there. There's something about the taste. I never liked it, and I always ate around them in the mixed nuts jars. And my mom used to say, oh, they're good for health benefits, but they also have a lot of arsenic in them. So if you eat enough Brazil nuts, you're going to have a bad problem. I was like, that's why they shouldn't exist. I didn't like the Brazil nut.
Yeah. So speaking of which, there is arsenic. Speaking of arsenic and old lace, the play.
Yeah.
There's now a spinoff called Brazilian Nuts and Lace. But
there we go.
Since you're giving an honorable mention to the pistachio, I'm going to give my honorable mention to pecans.
Ooh, okay.
Or pecans, if you will. If you say or pecans,
yeah.
if you will.
No, I say pecan all the time.
Yeah, pecan. Pecan pie, man.
Oh yeah,
pecan pie. Like a warm piece of pecan pie and some vanilla ice cream. You can't beat it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for sure. Yeah, this is an abbreviated version, but we have to mark this day in No Credentials Required history. This is the first time that our food rankings have matched exactly.
Incredible.
We are men of taste, Ryan.
We are men of taste. We've got some comments in the comment section. Joining us from Norway, speaking of almond enthusiasts,
he is one.
Diggy. All the way from Norway, friend of the show, saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Also says, I love the Planters honey roasted peanuts. They were addictive. I also love cashews.
Yeah.
Also, there's another question. Here's a question. How do you prefer your peanut butter? Smooth or crunchy? I think we've tackled this before.
I think we
might
have.
as well bring it back.
Yeah, but we can answer this. I'll go first for this one. It's simple. I'm a smooth guy.
Yeah.
I'm a smooth guy.
Yeah. And I think I remember correctly, your preferred peanut butter is Peter Pan.
Yep, you were right. Peter Pan is the one that I grew up with. Now let's see if I could do it. Was yours Jif or Skippy? Skippy, that's right. It was Skippy. I couldn't rember between the two. You put Jif at the bottom of your list, I think.
I did,
right?
because it tastes it's like a mouthful of sugar.
Yeah.
I can never understand. I know, and price, and I think Price Chopper's peanut butter was somewhere in the top 3 for me.
I think for you, yeah, because you grew up with it. Yeah,
grew up on it.
We gotta. The other thing we gotta tackle with this nut ranking is almond butter, which I have had. It's delicious. I haven't tried cashew butter though. I should. Cashews got the gold medal as far as my mixed nut ranking, so I feel like I got to try cashew butter. Maybe we'll try it and we'll talk about it on a later show.
It's true. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Well, that's been this edition of Hot Food Takes. The bouncing burger.
Yeah, the burger physics still amazing.
Certainly are. All right, we're going to move into baseball. Baseball officially started this week. Opening day was on Thursday, the official opening day. And I've got some things to talk about here. MLB TV.
Oh my God. I couldn't believe when you texted me this. And we were all in a good mood too. Everybody was ready.
Mood.
Everybody was ready.
I was ready to go.
Baseball. I won't
Griffey
go
with
further.
the slightly sodden jaw. talking Ozzy, Roger and the straw. All right, I'll stop. No, but I on Thursday. See, all right. So I got notification on my phone from T-Mobile saying, "Go ahead." Saying you're with your subscription, with your payment, with your service. We're offering MLB TV for free for the entire season. Got it last year. I enjoyed it for like the first 3 months. Then I got tired. Then I got focused on other things.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch as much baseball. This year I'm going to watch the heck out of it because I intend to, because it's free.
Yeah.
And B, we're going to increase our baseball coverage on this show for the spring and the summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, T-Mobile got the notification on T-Life. They said, yeah, MLB TV is now available. Go ahead and renew. So I renewed my subscription, and Thursday afternoon came around, and I'm at work, and I got my laptop I got my work laptop here. I got my personal laptop, which is what I'm broadcasting from on the side here. Put my VPN on. Going to put on some New York Yankees. New York Yankees were on ESPN. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I know the workaround for this. So I did the workaround, and I'm trying to go into this. I'm trying to go watch the game, and it's just buffering and buffering and buffering and buffering. I click off my VPN. I try another game. Buffering. The buffering signal for every single game I tried to get into, whether it was the Yankees and the Brewers, or it was the Blue Jays and the Orioles. Didn't matter which game you got buffering. Got buffering signal. I tried to go into the audio. You couldn't even get in the audio.
Jeez.
So Major League Baseball on opening day, and you can't blame this. You can't blame this on T-Mobile subscribers for getting the service for free.
Yeah, no.
I believe it's available. I think you can you have until Tuesday to renew to get the subscription. But this is like the Netflix Tyson Paul fight, where
oh my God,
Netflix had all this time to prepare for the fight, and then when it came to the fight, buffering, glitches, all sorts of problems, technical problems, and that just ruined my. It doesn't say ruin my day, but it just ruined the experience, because here I am, and we've talked about how baseball can improve. I have put my name in. I would put my hat in the ring for commissioner in 2030.
Yeah.
Bob Manfred's last year of being commissioner, this horrible commissioner of Major League Baseball, his terrible reign will end in 2029. And I have proposed many an idea to make baseball better, make baseball great again. This doesn't help.
Yeah.
We talk about how baseball can improve, how baseball can maximize their viewership. This doesn't help. You had months to prepare for this, and you screwed the pooch. You blew it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure, with the prep, and let's be honest here. Now, there are a lot of issues with baseball that, and some of them are outside of their control. But baseball was America's #1 sport for a very long time, but it has been supplanted by football.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you like to admit it or not, it has been supplanted by the NBA. No question about that. I would put baseball at number 3, with hockey nipping at its heels.
Yeah.
I feel like baseball already has I don't want to say a problem, but they don't always get exciting multi-sport athletes from certain areas and things, because let's be honest, the path to baseball can be a long one. Whereas if you're good in the NBA or the NFL, the path to the professional league is much more direct, whereas baseball, you gotta put your time in the minors, and people look at that kind of, and they say, well, I'm going to go basketball, or I'm going to go the NFL because it appeals to me more, for whatever reason, but also the times of some of the games and things like this. But opening day, I'll condense my point. Baseball's got its problems. We discussed it before, but this was a golden opportunity for you to get some goodwill and bring
Yeah.
people back. People are hungry for baseball. Around opening day, the fever pitch, pun intended, reaches it's high. October baseball is a great thing. Love late September, early October baseball. But like, this was a golden opportunity, and to fall on your face like this, it just increases the perception that I think baseball struggles with, especially when attracting a younger audience. I think some of the younger audience feels that this is like, it's outdated, it's old, it's quote unquote crusty, whatever you want to say. This is terrible. You were ready. You're saying, I want to watch a ton more baseball this year, and they're making it tough for you to do so because they were not prepared.
No, and just it just puts a black mark on you. It just makes it's like getting that test and seeing all the corrections you have to make. So I mean, last night it worked though. So I had company over last night. I made empanadas and we drank beer and we watched baseball. We watched my friend's favorite team, the Boston Red Sox, play the Texas Rangers, and it was a okay game, But at that time it worked. But an opening day when people are logging in, they want to see what's going on. They want to see what's how their team's going to be. Get a preview of how their team's going to be this year. And Major League Baseball didn't pass the test. This gets an incomplete mark in my mind.
Well, and it also makes me, for someone that receives a fair amount of flack from different areas of his life, oh, you still have cable? Oh, you still have a house phone? I mean, the house phone I get, but it's bundled with my cable. And if were I to remove the house phone, my cable would actually get more expensive. But this is part of the reason that I have cable still, because I'm afraid that the app's not going to work. For as much as cable can sometimes be unreliable, 90% of the time, cable works. So I did catch the Yankees and Brewers game for opening day. I caught the end of it on ESPN. I was able to see that, and then I wanted to catch. I had plans later in the night, and I wanted to catch some of the Dodger game, but their intros took so long that I didn't even get a shot.
I have an observation about that too.
Yeah.
I was at the gym. And I was doing my set of 8 rounds of deadlifts. And yes, that's right, folks. You heard it right. 8 rounds of deadlifts. Brian Shaw workout plan, my friends. It's awesome. It's invigorating. It's also
you're gonna be jacked.
I'll be happy if I'm just like I've got dad bod, but I'm getting there. But at Vent Fitness, that's my workout place. Vent Fitness, shout out to them. Shout out to the staff at Clifton Park. They have a wall of TVs and have different stations on. They had March Madness on one TV. They had the news, music videos, and whatnot. And one of them was ESPN. And yeah, they had the Dodgers Tigers game.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there. I completed my. I think I began and finished my set before that entire opening ceremony was done.
Yeah.
It was like watching it was like watching a live stream of the Satanic Temple. That's how
it was crazy, because I was like, oh man, I just saw that thrilling end to the Yankee game, which we'll get to. And I was like, I'm hungry for more baseball. I don't have MLB TV anymore. Fios, why did you just randomly remove it from my package a year ago? I don't like it. At least there's a free preview week, but what's it? Probably a week, and then I'll watch it, and then I'll be like, oh, but I got to find other ways. I think Apple TV, which I do have now, because I forgot
they have Friday night games.
Yeah, they have Friday night games, so I'll be able to watch some there.
And Amazon Prime has Yankee games on Wednesdays and some Thursdays and some Fridays, but it's mostly Wednesdays this year.
Yeah. And I've said it on these airwaves and off the air, and I'll say it again. A Friday game, you, Uncle Al, Aunt Barb, we're watching them. We're all Yankees. We'll get together at the old homestead here, my palatial estate. We'll watch them.
Well, you need a picnic table first.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. The whole thing collapsed. I got to figure out what to do about that. Now, No, but it is like I was ready, and I'm like, this intro's still going on. Like I was hoping to see like an inning of Tariq Skubal pitching, maybe because he's one of the most electric pitchers in the game right now. Last year's AL Cy Young winner,
Yes.
if I do believe,
You are
and
correct.
also
He's my pick to win this year's Cy Young.
Yeah, you had him repeated. Although I do have to say, I was surprised because during our baseball preview show, you were like Sandy Alcantara, and then I saw that he started for Miami, and I was like, wait,
yeah, I have a correction.
Yeah.
I thought he was traded to the Cardinals. That's on me.
Okay. No, because I didn't want to question you on the show because I was like, he's unquestionably done more research than me. And with my previous performance on Seahawks session that week, I did not trust my brain. I was like, I probably missed it. I was worried. But yeah, so that intro was too long.
Yeah. Pre-game ceremonies for, you got your banner, like make it quick. Get your banner raised, give the rings where needed. I know they have the special uniforms where it's all gold. The logo's gold. The player name in the back is in gold. The numbers are in gold. Okay, yeah, great. That's fine. Fine and dandy, but let's get moving. Let's get it moving.
Yeah, and
kids gotta go to bed on the East Coast.
If I may ask you quick, Ryan, did you remember to set your lineup? Did you get your lineup set upon your return to fantasy baseball? Because if you did,
changed it.
Your Adley Rutschman draft pick,
he was in, yes,
paid off very well.
Yes,
Now,
on opening day.
Churio, he had a bit of a slow start against the Yanks, but for me, I am very happy that Fernando Tatis, at least so far, looks healthy this season. And he's come out and he said, I was basically standing on one leg last year. You have no idea how much that impacted my game. He's like, I'm ready to go. And I chalk that up to spring speak. You know how everybody says they're in the best shape of their life. But, man, he got off to a good start. Keep going, Fernando.
Adley Rutschman had a great start. He's got 2 home runs so far.
Yeah.
Austin Riley has a home run. O'Neal Cruz has a home run. So power's got to pick up a little bit. I'm currently down by 19 in my league, but I'm setting my lineup. I've got a couple of guys on IL, so I got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Jared Jones is on the 15-day IL. Parker Meadows, unfortunately, is on the 60-day IL. And Connor Norby's on the 10-game ILs, but I just changed my lineup. Thank you for reminding me, by the way.
Not a problem. I got to do it after the show. I meant to do it before, but, that thing where you get up and you have like plenty of time, but then you just kind of sit and zone out on your phone, and then it's like a half an hour, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
That's me.
Every day.
Yeah.
Day. But yeah, let's talk about our New York Yankees.
Yes.
Where is it? Where's the show?
New York Yankees?
The New York Yankees!
Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Costanza.
Talk about the New York Yankees on opening day. 4-2 win over Milwaukee. It was tight throughout. Carlos Rodon had a heck of a game, heck of an outing for opening day.
Yeah,
I believe
he really
went
did.
6 1/3 or 5 1/3, I believe. 6 strikeouts, gave up that 1 home run, but a solid outing nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really tune in until after I was done with work, and I finally got the audio up for MLB TV. But the 7th inning was the big inning for the Yankees. They managed to chip away at the Brewers pitching and get a couple more runs.
Because Freddie Peralta looked good. Freddie
Peralta looked good.
pretty good. Yeah.
Austin Wells had that opening home run.
That leadoff home run.
Crushed it.
There was a clip of, I believe it was Greg Rosenthal. I'm trying to remember, on MLB TV. And he goes, I don't know if I'm buying this. He goes, Austin Wells is your leadoff guy. And then he hits the home run and he goes, once again, Aaron Boone showing his genius. Yeah. It was pretty funny. It was pretty.
I saw that. Like, that's hysterical. Austin Wells leadoff home run. who was it? Volpe, Anthony Volpe
Yeah, I
added a
was going
home
to say
run.
Volpe hit the home run.
Volpe hit
Yeah.
a home run. Aaron Judge with a double that hit the bag. It hit the third base bag, and that got a run in. So they went up 3-1. We wound up getting going up 4-1. He had 2 out not 2 out RBI. He had and then Bellinger bringing the other run. So
Mhm.
so Yankees wound up going 4-1. And then Devin Williams makes his first appearance
Oh,
in a
man.
Yankee uniform. And this is where things got hinky. So this was just a weird ninth inning. So and I'm trying to recollect from my memory. He allowed the first 2 batters to get on base.
Yes.
And I guess the umpire wasn't really giving him a whole lot. This umpire wasn't really giving either pitcher a whole lot this game. But this is how it went for the Brewers. Single to right, double to center. So they had 2 men on.
Yep.
Then Williams walked
A
a
walk.
batter. Sac fly to center. Bauer steals third. And then Churio, man, worst man. What a terrible day for Churio.
Yeah.
5 strikeouts.
Yeah. The golden
5.
sombrero, I think that's called, right?
5th. And then Christian Yelich swung out to end the game. But that was you figured for a guy who was really dominant last year. I don't know if you chalk it up to nervousness, if you chalk it up to his old team knowing which pitches he's going to throw.
Yeah.
This was a shaky debut for Devin Williams, but he got the save. That's what matters the most. He got the save and sent fans home happy on opening day.
Yeah, and I think striking out Christian Yelich is the perfect way to kind of like rebound from his shaky inning, because you could tell, and I think, Brian, what you just laid out, I think it's a combination of both. I think it was a combination of nerves. This is probably no disrespect to the Milwaukee Brewers. You may hear a little bit about them later in the show when we do the list, but this is probably the biggest stage that he's pitched on, and it might have been opening day jitters a little bit, and also just maybe he was extra jacked up, which I've heard from pitchers. To make an analogy, I mean, Brett Favre used to famously be too keyed up before games. Mike Holmgren said, I used to have to put a couple plays in to just a couple of pass plays that were outs toward the sideline, because that way, if Brett was too fired up and skipped it into the dirt or way overthrew it, it wasn't going to hurt us, because Brett took a couple plays to calm down. And maybe this is the type of thing that Williams was just too fired up and came out. Because, I mean, the bases were loaded at one point, and I'm going, oh, my goodness, we're going to blow this game. But I also think the Brewers knew him very well, obviously.
Yeah. One more thing to throw in there as a possible reason for the shakes.
Mm-hmm.
The last time we saw him throw a baseball was in the divisional series.
Yeah.
When he threw that pitch to Pete Alonso, who sent it over the fence in Miller Park.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called now. But I think that goes in your psyche. That stays in your psyche for a while. But again, he got the save.
Yeah, he did get it, and finishing with a strikeout, I think hopefully he can carry that momentum into his next game, because let me tell you, 34 pitch ninth inning. I think it was 36. Okay, 36 pitch ninth inning. That's a lot of pitches for a closer. So hopefully,
it is.
Hopefully his next outing is a little more brisk.
Well, hopefully so, because he's got a chance today. If they go that far, if they get the lead in the ninth inning and it's a close game, he's got another opportunity to do it today. So, I'm playing today. I believe it's a 3 or 1 o'clock start.
Okay.
I'm double checking. I did see Jason Dominguez is in my lineup for
Yeah, there you
fantasy
go.
baseball. So 105 start. So they'll be
Okay,
on by the
perfect.
time this podcast goes up.
Is that on Yes? Do you know? I might put it on my
I'm
iPad
gonna
while I'm working after the show a little bit here.
let's double check.
Do something, but yes, sir. I'll find it. I'll find it.
I suspect so because I don't see any. No. Let's see here. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
probably on yes, but
Yeah. It's probably a yes to yes. And if
yes.
not, I'll find it.
Yeah. Or if worse comes to worse, I'll just listen to it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right. We're going to take our network mandated commercial break. When we come back. The list is back. And we're going to talk about our favorite athletes to wear the number 23. We're going to gush over them for an unspecified amount of time.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling I know what Dustin's is. But I also
Yeah,
have a
you
feeling
probably know. You probably know.
it's
So,
one of two. It's one of two, but we'll figure it out.
okay, we'll see.
We'll see when we get there. But stand by and stay tuned for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. So, Dustin, why don't you tell the audience about the wonders of Invader Coffee?
Oh, well, gladly, sir. I am drinking. It's a Saturday, so everybody knows Invader is always in my cup. When I am home, Invader is in my cup. When I have to broadcast from parts unknown, it's a little harder. But today, I am still drinking the remnants of the cookie crumble. I'm working on that. I love that. It's a holiday blend, one of my favorites. But there are many, many other blends. I couldn't decide almost. I almost went with Donut Dealer because Donut Dealer might be my number one overall. I love Donut Dealer so much. And I've got a soft spot for the OG blend, the blend that started it all. When you first told me about this coffee, before I was even on the show, you said, "Hey, I think you might like this coffee. You got to try it." I went with the OG blend, and that's the one, the Invader blend, and that's the one that brought me into the fold. And my first order arrived very quickly, and it had a nice little handwritten note. And I had just gotten a French press at that time. I said, let me try this with my new French press. Wonderful thing. Now they have in K cups. I don't think they're back in stock. I checked this site. They have Mexican chocolate K cups, which I do have, but they have the Invader blend K cups as well. So sometimes I bring those to the office because I much prefer Invader coffee over Bleen Blounton or Cardux or that chain that America supposedly runs on where they burn the coffee all the time.
Funkin'.
Invader doesn't do anything like that. Invader, it's air roasted. It's not bitter. You don't need to mask the flavor with any creamer or sugar or anything like that. And the best part, you're going to pay a little bit more for shipping, but it'll get there fast. And we can help. You go and you use the code BELLYUP at checkout. You're going to get 15% off your order, and you're going to like it. To use a phrase from the 90s commercials, you're going to like the way the coffee tastes. I guarantee it. I riffed on that a little bit, but that's how much I believe in Invader. It is the only coffee that goes in my mugs in this house. Invader Coffee. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Use the promo code. And I know that you've tried some new blends recently, Ryan.
I have. I'm actually. Well, it's new to me, but it's been part of the Invader Coffee rotation since its beginning. The T-Max Organic Blend, which is what I'm drinking currently. It's a dark blend, but it's delightful. It's a dark roast, it's earthy. It's a mix of Indonesian and Ethiopian blend. It's got a little bit of a chocolate taste to it. So if you want to check, it's a good stuff. So you want to check that out. And no credentials required. At Invader Coffee, you get the no credentials required seal of approval. There's old puppers. All right, folks. It's been a while since we've done this, but we're going to break out a new edition of, if I can find that element.
I'm laughing in anticipation yet. It hasn't even happened, and I'm still laughing about it.
Hasn't even happened. You're still laughing about
It's
it.
one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite elements.
I know you're here somewhere. Come on.
We'll find it. We're
There it
live.
is. We're live, folks. All right, here it is. It's the list.
You just made the list!
All right. Dustin had an idea for the list, and it was our top 3 baseball teams we would root for other than the New York Yankees. So I don't know. I guess you could say if we weren't Yankees fans, we would probably root for these 3 teams. Is that what I'm?
Yeah.
The gist? Okay.
Yeah, if we weren't Yankees fans, we would root for these 3 teams, and it could be any reason. Because as you're going to find out, some of the reasons I'm going to give probably a little crazy, but hey, here it is.
There they are. So I'm going to go ahead and lead off. With your list.
All right, I'll lead off right here now. Coming in at number 3. I would root for, if not for the New York Yankees, I would root for the Pittsburgh Pirates because there's always a part of me that wants to kind of support the underdog and wants to see if a small market team can do it, and I've heard great things about their stadium. I'd love to go check out a game there. People say it's very nice. And if I were to root for the Pittsburgh Pirates, yes, there would be some hardship. Ownership would probably make me very angry. But I get to watch Paul Skeens. For hopefully a long time. And I really like the logo too. The simple black and white with the Pittsburgh P there.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the way the uniforms look, and like I said, they've been bad for so long that, like, in general, they've had some ups and downs like any other team, but they just don't compete on the level, partially due to their ownership and also they're a smaller market team. But I would want to be there when it turns around. And O'Neal Cruz is there. They do have some talent. But they're just never going to sign any of the real big names. So that's what you're going to have to deal with. The Pirates are always going to promote from within. But I have this fascination with rooting for the underdog. So the Pittsburgh Pirates make my list. The Kansas City Royals almost came in here because I like their powder blue unis. And I've always wanted to check out Kauffman Stadium with the fountains and stuff. But the Pirates edged them out. Pirates are my number 3. Number 2, we're going with the San Diego Padres. I don't think this is any secret. I love Tony Gwynn. We talked about him a couple short episodes ago. I always liked their color scheme, the blue, the orange, and everything. Now, I wasn't rocking with the Padres all the way back when they had the brown and yellow in like the 70s and 80s. I wasn't on that train. I'm talking 90s Padres around the time when they went to the World Series against the Yankees. Always kind of rooted for the Padres a little bit because I like to watch Trevor Hoffman come out of the bullpen to hell's bells. As I said, I love Tony Gwynn. I always liked Jake Peavy. Jake Peavy was pitching for the Padres for a while when he was at his peak, I think. And also their stadium, I have heard, is amazing, and I'd love to go to Petco Park and check it out, especially the area around it. I guess it's very nice. That made my stadium list. But the San Diego Padres are my number 2 team, and they kind of become the National League team that I root for by default, along with who's next on this list. And my number 1 team that I would want to root for if it wasn't for the New York Yankees being my team, my love that dad passed down to me, is the Milwaukee Brewers. And it is basically, You know how you pick a horse at the racetrack sometimes, Ryan, because you like the colors of the jockey?
Yep.
This is me. The Milwaukee Brewers with that glove logo and the blue and yellow. Blue and yellow has been one of my favorite color combinations since I was a little kid. And I was always kind of jealous of the Brewers uniforms, especially throwing it back to that glove logo with the blue and yellow. I do like Christian Yelich. As I've said, I've always kind of rooted for Christian Yelich, and I root for Freddie Peralta too, because he's kind of a roller coaster ride. I always hope that he can really put it together because I think he's got a lot of talent. And I also have a soft spot from when CC Sabathia was on the Brewers for that short little run, and he pitched them right into the playoffs on short rests and stuff. And Miller Park, I just thought it looked like a nice place, and I would like to check out and visit. And also, any team that focuses on beer, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I mean, a lot of people thought that I might pick the Mariners because of my other Seattle sports love, and also the fact that they worked with Nintendo back in the 90s because Nintendo was part owners of the team. I love Nintendo despite the fact that they continually piss me off with the way that they do things. But and apparently they're working with the Mariners in some capacity again this year. I've got to look it up, but I did not go Mariners. My number one, the Milwaukee Brewers. With that, I pass it off to you, Ryan.
I'm just looking up to see what they're doing, Nintendo and
Yeah, I think
Mariners this year.
I think it was announced in a recent Nintendo Direct, but I'm not 100% sure. That was just me coming in with some information off the top of my dome.
So the Seattle Mariners, this is on MLB.com. The headline says MLB Seattle Mariners expand relationship with Nintendo with team's first ever jersey sleeve partnership.
Okay,
So the Nintendo DS patch is on the Seattle Mariners logo. Seattle Mariners uniforms.
Okay.
So that I don't know if that was it, but that's what came up in my feed when I did a search for.
That's probably it. That's probably it. Because if I remember right, I think Nintendo had part ownership in like the early 90s.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They did. And they're the ones who released the Ken Griffey Jr. baseball game.
Oh,
Super
yeah,
Nintendo.
dude. Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest on the Nintendo 64, forget about it. I was playing that. And I remember being mystified because it had the announcer technology where if there were two, like, thanks to a reliever on the Expos whose name is escaping me, his first name was Dustin, and then there was like a catcher that was like Henry Blanco. So the computer was smart enough to put those two names together in the creative player, and it'd be like Dustin Henry. But now, like sometimes it would put together like it couldn't put like the right inflection on it. So it would just be like the canned sound from however the announcer said the name. So my friend used to make players with the name like Billy Bob all the time because there would be players with the first name Bob and the first name Billy. So it'd be like Billy Bob. It couldn't like, but I loved that. I loved that game. And there was a cheat code where you could press a button combination, and then anytime Ken Griffey made contact with the ball, it was a home run. And also they brought Dave Niehaus, the voice of the Mariners, back in there for that game to record the dialogue. So I love that game. Man, I just went on a tangent. I'm sorry about that.
So the pitcher you're referring to is Dustin Hermanson.
Yes, that's right. Dustin Hermanson.
Yeah. All right. So here's my list. So I'm going to start with an honorable mention.
Okay.
The Miami Marlins, because somebody has to be a fan of that team.
All right. I like it.
And this is sad. All right. So yeah. I guess I had a company last night. I was watching the Pirates Marlins game before my friend arrived, and it just looked sad. It looked sad looking at Lone Depot Park. $500 million.
Yeah.
Built on the old site of the Orange Bowl, and they can't attract fans. I mean, it might depend on who they play. When they're playing the Pirates in this one, but man, I could probably count no more than like 2,200 people in that crowd, and there's nobody in the upper deck.
Yeah,
which is really sad. So, like I said, somebody has to be a fan of this team. That's my honorable mention. Number 3, I'm going to go with an AL East rival.
Oh man, I thought about it. The O's almost made my list. Who are you going with?
The O's.
There
made
you
my
go.
list. The O's made my list, partially because of the ballpark, partially because of our association with our friend of the show, Eric Arditi from Barstool Sports. I gotta bring him back on. We gotta have him on for some baseball,
Yeah, for sure. For
baseball
some
talk,
baseball coverage, yeah.
and also because the team is on the rise. I've actually been to a couple of Norfolk Tides games. It's their AAA affiliate at Harbor Park in Norfolk, which is actually a really nice stadium. It's actually it's a pretty nice stadium. I've been to a night game. I've been to a day game. Went to a day game in 2023 in early September, and it was 98 degrees at first pitch.
Oh man, was Drew Lachey there? I'm sorry. And I love how Drew was the first one that came to. I didn't even say Nick either. I'll put myself in time out for that one. I'm going to mute myself now.
But Jackson Holiday did hit the first hit in the first home run of the game. So I got to see a young Jackson Holiday before he went to the got called up. But the O's are on my list because I've never been to Camden Yards. I need to get to Camden Yards. I have to get there. I have to find a way to get there. I was hoping if we had gone to the Outer Banks in 2024, I was going to make a stop in Baltimore and go to an Orioles game and meet our friend Eric Arditi. But it didn't happen, unfortunately. But I think sometime this summer, I got to make a trip down there. Got to do an overnight.
Yeah.
Got to do an overnight. But the O's are my number 3. And also because they have a very rich history. Like they had some legendary players, Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, Harmon Killebrew played for the Twins. Sorry. Jim Palmer, Eddie Calverton Jr. How can you forget him? Eddie Murray. Just a team kind of steeped in history for it's a short time they've been in baseball terms, a short time.
Yeah, I would also put. Let me know if you would agree, but I would almost put. I would put Mike Mussina on that list for all he.
Yes.
I loved him as a Yankee, but I still kind of, when I think back, I consider him an Oriole. I think he goes in. If he goes into the Hall of Fame, I would be shocked if he didn't pick an Oriole hat.
He did go to the Hall of Fame, but I don't remember if the bust was with the Orioles cap or with the Yankees cap. I think it might have been Orioles. Might have been the Orioles.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Because I think 2019 was when he was inducted. Yeah. So
that's
I was
right.
there. I was there.
Oh,
I was
man.
there. I was there for that one. It was him, Lee Smith, Mo Rivera, who was it? Not Hoffman. Not Hoffman. Holiday. Holiday.
Okay. Yeah. Matt Holiday there.
No. The pitcher.
Oh, the pitcher.
For the Blue
Roy
Jays.
Holiday.
Roy Holiday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Holiday,
His wife. He was posthumously inducted. His wife did the speech. Lee Smith. Can't remember who else was also inducted, but those are the 4 that came to mind. All Baltimore Orioles, they're number 3. Number 2, Cincinnati Reds.
Okay. All right.
Historical team, the oldest team in Major League Baseball. And I think part of it is because of the Pete Rose the docuseries that went on.
Yeah.
But I was also fascinated with that that 90s team that absolutely beat the pants off the A's in a 4-game sweep. That was yes, they technically were Pete Rose's team, but because of his banishment from baseball, Lou Piniella took over and he became the manager, and that team was loaded with talent. Jose Rio, Barry Larkin, Chris Sabo, Paul O'Neill.
Yeah.
Was on that team that won the 1990 World Series. So that team was loaded with talent, and they could have gone far. But Barry Larkin is just an amazing shortstop for all those years in Cincinnati. They also had was it Phillips? I can't remember his first name. Who played second base.
All right. Let me second base.
But Sean Casey, Ken Griffey Jr. was there for a spell.
Yep.
But right now, we keep talking about how the Pirates and the Reds, how they could possibly break through, but they never seem to break through because they rely on youth and all that youth, and they don't always play the best baseball. But they're loaded with talent, and I think we talked about them in the preview last week. If things go right for either the Pirates or the Reds, they could make some noise in the wild card discussion. So, and Great American Ballpark looks like a fun time. So,
Was it Brandon Phillips you were thinking of?
I believe it was. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Because I believe he was in my fantasy team for back in the 90s, and he got me a title in 1999. So, but my number one team, if I didn't root for the Yankees, I'd root for them. I would root for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
Another I'm going based on historical
steeped in
teams,
history.
Steeped in history. And the St. Louis Cardinals are one of those teams. Look, Stan Musial, Bob Gibson, one of the best, one of the most intimidating pitchers of his era.
Mm-hmm.
Mark McGwire, even though he was an A first, Oakland A, we typically associate him with the St. Louis Cardinals because of his home run, breaking the home run record in 1998. But yeah, St. Louis is just one of those cities that and Busch Stadium is one of those ballparks. Again, another ballpark I want to visit.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the old style of, it's kind of built on the old style. Like Cannon Yards was the archetype for these these new stadiums now.
Yeah.
And you see these new stadiums popping up like Busch Stadium and Great American Ballpark, PNC Park in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, which is another honorable mention for me, the Philadelphia Phillies. But St. Louis, just I don't know, something about that region.
Yeah.
And the association with baseball for so long, that I would donning that red ball cap, just seems to bring out a lot of nostalgia. And like I know that back in the day that them and the Yankees were the top two teams in baseball. They would always seem to run into each other sometimes in the World Series, and I think the Yankees got the best of them most of those times. So, but I always respect tradition. I always respect history, and St. Louis is that number one team.
Well, yeah, that's a great pick, and they were one of my honorable mentions. I kind of waffled back and forth, and here's another little tease for what may happen later in the show. I thought about it because of certain managerial hires. I would almost going to say the Dodgers, but I can't root for the Dodgers now because it's like rooting for,
it's like rooting for Satan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not quite on that level, but it's,
no, I kid. Mostly.
I already have, I'm going to be honest with you for a second here, Ryan, and everybody that's watching and everybody that watches later or listens later. We thank you. But I still feel spoiled as a Yankee fan sometimes, and so I didn't want to pick another team. Now I'm not saying this about like St. Louis, but I didn't want to pick another team like the Dodgers that seemingly, especially now, always gets their guy, and I didn't want to pick the Mets because and I certainly wasn't going to pick Boston. You could be sure about that because why, Ryan? Do we have the element?
Oh, I know why. Let's all hail our tribal chief.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Yes. Shout out to our tribal chief. We got to get him back on the show too.
Yes, of course. And we got to talk to him about, possibly a summer plan for no ticket required.
But I will say this about the Dodgers. My grandfather, Grandpa McCarthy, he was a big Dodgers fan before they moved from Brooklyn to Los Angeles and became a Met fan afterwards. So it kind of sort of I have that in my family, but nowadays it's like the Dodgers have become the new evil empire.
They have, and also I'm not, like I said, I'm not market wise, I'm not equating St. Louis to this at all, but rooting for St. Louis also kind of felt like rooting for a version of the National League Yankees, which is kind of why I didn't go with them. But you're right, as far as knowledgeable baseball fans, the atmosphere of the city.
Mhm.
Baseball is number one in St. Louis for sure.
Yeah.
I would say it's still king there. And I always respected the Cardinals for sure.
Yeah, now that Stan Kroenke up and took the Rams back out to the West Coast.
Yeah.
But they had the Battlehawks, and the UFL starts this week. So, yeah, I mean the Battlehawks are huge there. But I know the St. Louis wants the NFL back. If the NFL were to ever expand again, I think that would be a key market to look at.
Yeah.
But that's going to be this edition of The List.
You just made the list! Oh my gosh.
All right, so we're going to conclude our show with our favorite athletes to wear the number 23 because this is the 23rd recording of 2025. So, because we're going with our favorite athletes to wear the number associated with the episode, and I teased before the commercial break.
Yeah.
There's one of two names in my mind.
In your mind, okay.
That I'm picking, but I'm gonna have Dustin lead off here with his, and I'll reveal mine because it's one of the two names that one of two that could be that we could steal from each other. But
All right.
Dustin, go ahead, lead it off.
All right, here we go. These next two episodes, episode 23 and episode 24, are going to be two of the easiest decisions ever. My favorite number 23. No, I'm not going Michael Jordan. No, I'm not going LeBron James just to spite Ryan.
Oh, thank God! I was gonna
Needle
disown you as my host if you picked him.
I'm not going LeBron James. It's Don Mattingly. Come on.
Yeah, that was one of the names.
Don Mattingly is my favorite Yankee. I didn't pick him for Brent's show when we were on Brent's show because I picked my second favorite Yankee. Unironically, it is Chuck Knobloch. I just had a soft spot for old Nobby as always, but for some reason. But I still remember the look in Brent's eyes when I chose Chuck Knobloch. But in all seriousness, Don Mattingly is my favorite Yankee. But I felt like picking him for that particular show would have been chalk, But this is where Don Mattingly, I have said this, one of the great things in life that I wish happened that did not happen was that Yankee team advancing so that they could win one for Don when he was very injured at the end of his career, similar to Larry Bird in Boston. Larry on the Dream Team, his back was shot, he was injured, it was, but he still was there. And Donnie, the 80s Yankees were not a good team. And guess what? I'm aging myself a little bit here, but I was born in 1983. I started watching Yankees baseball pretty young with my dad, like probably around 87 is when I really started watching Yankees baseball. My dad is a Yankee fan. And what little boy growing up doesn't want to kind of imitate his dad? Yeah. I was in that camp, of course. I was like, Dad mows his lawn with his shirt off and jeans. I'm going to do that too. Dad roots for the Yankees. I'm going to do that too. So Don Mattingly, I just loved Don Mattingly. He was my favorite Yankee. I love the way he played the game. I still believe if it was not for injuries, Donnie would have been even better than he was. And he just exemplified the Yankees to me, especially in the 80s and early 90s where the team wasn't too good. No. And I wish he didn't get injured, and I wish the Yankees were able to get past the Mariners. You may be hearing about a Mariner in the next episode. Like I said, 23 and 24, two of the easiest decisions I could make. But Don Mattingly, I still love Don Mattingly. It's why I rooted for the Marlins for a little while when he had that job. It's why I rooted for the Dodgers again when he and Joe Torre managed them. I think back to back, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And Don Mattingly was a bench coach for the Yankees. And I openly rooted for Don Mattingly to get the Yankees job over Aaron Boone back in the day. I did think now Kevin is in the comments and I really thought about going Marshawn Lynch, but I just couldn't do it. It's Don Mattingly for me. I would be betraying. Don Mattingly has been my favorite number 23 for a very long time. And I always loved him. I always rooted for him, no matter where he went, no matter what he was doing. Donnie Baseball is my guy.
All right. And yes, Kevin Wilson in the comments. First off, to answer your question from earlier, the only way to have peanut butter is crunchy. Lies. And he says the answer to who wore number 23 has to be beast mode, which is Marshawn Lynch. But I mean, he wasn't he wasn't in the league for too long. He started his career in Buffalo and then was traded to Seattle.
Yeah,
and had that marvelous couple seasons in handful of seasons in Seattle before
he had a run. He had a run in Seattle for sure. And he did finish out in Oakland, because that's where he grew up.
Yep.
He wanted to go back there.
All right. Well, my number 23, it's pretty obvious. It's Mike. And again, it was one of two names I thought up. I wanted Dustin to go first because I wanted him to reveal his favorite number 23, and I had a feeling that would be it.
Yeah.
But for the both of us, it's definitely Michael Jordan for number 23. Yeah, our favorite athlete that were number 23. And it's not just the impact he had on the court, but also off the court. It was well documented in The Last Dance.
Yeah.
It was also pretty well documented in Air, that movie about the Nike courting Michael Jordan to wear their shoes when he declared for the NBA draft in 1984. But all the things he's done on the court were incredible. And at the time, the NBA was on the struggle bus when he came into the league. And you could argue Magic and Bird were the two who saved the NBA, and to a lesser extent, Julius Erving.
Yeah,
because that's another name that we don't throw out there enough that saved the NBA. But Michael Jordan took the league to another level. And I remember I saw a clip. I think it was Cole Johnson who sent me this clip about people talking about comparing LeBron James and comparing Michael Jordan. And he says, this observer, I'll send you the video a little bit later.
Okay.
Dustin. But I'm paraphrasing the commentator who said this. Is like, yeah, you really can't compare these two guys because Jordan went to the playoffs in every single season as a Chicago Bull. From 1984, he basically dragged out a coked up Chicago Bulls team and went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And in 85 or 86, he broke his foot during the season and worked his butt off to get back to playing form. And they faced the Celtics in the first round, and he scored 63 points in a playoff game in Game 2 against Boston, which is still the league record for points scored in a playoff game. Kobe couldn't break it. LeBron certainly couldn't break it. But his culture, his impact on the game, because at the time when I was growing up as a teenager, who is everybody modeling or trying to model their game with or from?
Yeah,
it was always Michael Jordan. Always Michael Jordan. Although I was a Barkley fan back in the day myself as well.
Yeah. There were players that we all liked, back in the 90s or NBA. I think again, when we get about 10 or so more episodes into the show, one of the picks is going to be very easy for me.
Yeah.
But Jordan, just his cultural impact for people in our, because you and I, you're a little bit older than me, but for a whole generation of children, whether you were 10 years old, whether you were 17, Michael Jordan was it. Michael Jordan was the league. Michael Jordan was everything. The Bulls, whenever they came to town, whoever team they were playing always sold out. All the games sold out because everyone wanted to see Mike. And that's why things are mythologized. The flu game, everything else.
I'm sure we'll get a comment from Kevin Wilson saying it wasn't the flu.
Yeah.
Him being a Utah Jazz fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it's hands down, it's Michael Jordan. And he still has an impact in the culture too. With him being a part owner of the Charlotte Hornets and him had to step away from it, but he sold his share and now he's no longer a majority owner. But yeah, I mean, commercials, movies, like he was the first to do it. And we see this current generation of NBA players standing on the shoulders of these giants, but it seems like they don't acknowledge the fact that Jordan, Magic, Bird, Irving, Barkley, Ewing, all those guys had a hand in making the league as what it is currently in terms of TV deals, marketing deals, player endorsements. And Jordan was the one who really kicked it off and put it into. I mean, Magic and Bird kicked it off. Jordan put it into hyperdrive.
Magic and Bird, and like you said, to a lesser extent, Irving saved the league from, finals were on tape delay before that.
Yes.
But Jordan took the league into the stratosphere, and I will always argue this, and I'm spoiling things, but I would also give honorable mention to Shaq. He also helped take it. And Shaq and Penny in the 90s, they didn't take the torch from Jordan. No one took the torch from Jordan, but they helped carry it for sure in the 90s there. And Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks and Reggie Miller. There was a lot of guys, but it was all Jordan was the center of the league. Jordan was the league's son.
And actually, I think it was yesterday was the 30th anniversary. God, I'm old. The 30th anniversary of Michael Jordan saying, "I'm back," and played his first game as a Chicago Bull, wearing the number 45. By the way, but that was it played Indiana. I remember that game because it was a Sunday afternoon, coming home from church, and we all sat, we ordered pizza, and we watched that game. Michael Jordan coming back.
Oh man!
And then 2 nights later, he went to Madison Square Garden and lit the Knicks up for 55.
Yeah. And you know what? This is an on-air production meeting, Ryan. An idea just came to myself in my head because I've been looking for an excuse to rewatch The Last Dance. It's been a while. You have your Netflix subscription back now.
I do.
Should we pick a significant date, that revolves around Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and should we do a revisit of The Last Dance? Perhaps we will. Perhaps we can and will.
Let me look up the date that last Michael Jordan game as a Chicago Bull.
That's a good idea, yeah, because he also was still good when he came back on the Wizards, but we don't talk about the Wizards period.
We don't, because that was those was his ownership days. So June 14th, which is a Saturday.
Oh, it could line up.
It could line up. We talk
because it won't be a Tuesday, so we won't be
it'll be a Saturday
interfering with our other plans.
No, it won't. No, it won't. It's a Saturday, so we can talk about The Last Dance and Michael Jordan's final game with the Chicago Bulls, because I have put his time with the Wizards into the memory hole, and I don't want to remember it ever again.
Like Emmitt Smith's time with the Cardinals or Jerry Rice's time with the Seahawks. Yes, that's right. It did happen.
Or yeah, exactly. Although I do remember Mariah Carey wearing that dress during the All-Star game halftime show.
Oh, I'll have to. The emancipation of Mimi.
Yeah,
Mariah Carey,
that curvy witch.
Yeah, she does have a 5-octave range. It's very impressive.
Very impressive, amongst other things. But we're gonna get out of here. Just want to remind you before we get out of here. To follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. And also check out our other podcasts and articles on bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora, amongst others. And get yourself notified both on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know the show when the show goes live, when we have show announcements, when we have videos that go up, clips from this show, or we do something special like a short, or we do something special like, I don't know, we'll figure it out, but we'll let you know in future shows. Got some ideas, we just need to execute.
Yeah.
On the podcast side, again, rate, review, comment. 5-star rating would be helpful. A review on a platform that you're on would be helpful. And also on Spotify, leave a comment. And if you're watching on Belly Up Sports YouTube channel later, leave us a comment. Who are your 3 teams you would root for other than your current Major League Baseball team? Also, leave us your favorite number 23 in the comments. If we find out it's LeBron James, you're banned from the show.
No, I don't. I mean, I know many friends of the show and you, and a lot of people have a intense dislike for LeBron. I'm not in that camp, but I also
I wouldn't say dislike, but yeah. I would say it was not so much him, but his followers.
Yes.
The cult of bronzexuals.
That I will agree with. Okay.
But yes, rate, review, leave a comment, all that stuff. And we'll be back on Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern. What we're going to talk about, we don't know. We'll figure it out. But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Go out there and enjoy your Saturday. We'll be back on Tuesday evening talking sports, maybe talking movies. Maybe we'll have a beer or two. We don't know.
Perhaps.
But in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. March Madness is going on. The Elite 8 is this weekend. Maybe we'll revisit my bracket that's going on. Baseball in full effect, and other sports items that may come up in the during the weekend. We'll talk about on Tuesday. So in the meantime, stay safe. We'll talk to you Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
There it is.